avant-garde Japanese designers, and concealing himself behind one of his long-time signatures, a large fan. Then, in the year 2000, he began a radical weight loss. He told everyone that he wanted to diet so that he would be able to wear the form-fitting designs of the hottest menswear designer around, Eddie Slimane for Christian Dior, who also happened to be a younger man whom Karl found quite attractive. He ended up dropping 90 pounds in 13 months, like letting go of a parka of fat, Karl said. In those years, Karl would begin every day at 5 or 6 a.m., waking up in his 18th century apartment and putting on a robe in white, starched cotton pique. As rigorous as he was about his work, he could be equally exacting about his appearance, often spending 2 hours every morning getting ready. His first task was to tie his shoulder-length hair back into a ponytail, which he had been doing since the late 1970s. "My hair is too wavy, undisciplined, and it does not stay in place even when short," he explained. "The only way for me to be correct is to pull my hair back." Only later in the 1990s did he turn his signature flourish white with a dusting of dry shampoo. After several hours of sketching every morning, in his office adjacent to his bedroom, Karl would go to his perfectly arranged closets to dress for the day. Newly trim, he began wearing his tailored suits, or jackets and skinny jeans, with white shirts with high collars that he had custom-made at Hilditch and Key. In September 2003, just after he turned 70, Karl made one of his many appearances on French television with his sleek new look. The host suggested that, with his powdered hair and grand lifestyle, it was as though he were living in another century. "I am both more simple and more modern than that," he explained. "I prefer living in the third millennium, rather than the 18th century, or the 19th century, which I hate, or the 20th century, which was fine. I prefer today." Karl's birthday, September 10th, happened to fall on a Friday. He rarely wanted to celebrate his own birthday, bristling at anything that focused too much on his past. Still, two of his close friends, Françoise Dumas, a beautifully connected publicist and event planner, and Betty Lagardère, a former model from Brazil and the widow of French industrialist Jean-Luc Lagardère, asked if he would let them organize a birthday dinner. Karl agreed. It would be one of the first times he had done such a thing, and they had 24 hours to make it happen. The party took place in the spectacular 18th century townhouse of Lagardère, one of the grandest private houses in Paris, on the Rue Barbet de Jouy. It is now owned by another of Karl's close friends, Bernard Arnault. It was such a splendid day, with an incredible light, Lagardère remembered. We had a salon cleared out and placed a long table, 14 or 16 at a diagonal. We wanted to make the decor very special, so we filled the room with white orchids, and we started inviting Karl's friends. The evening, though hastily organized, had no problem attracting guests. More than a dozen dropped what they were doing to attend. Princess Caroline of Monaco and Ernst of Hanover, actresses Jean Merot and Isabelle Huppert, designer Eddie Slimane, politician Roselyne Bachelot, and decorator Jacques Grange and his partner gallerist Pierre Passepartout. It was a dîner placé, so Dumas and Lagardère had the seating impeccably organized. When Karl arrived, though, he had a surprise guest. He hadn't told us that he was bringing someone like Amanda Harlick or another good friend, and then he suddenly appeared with Yoko Ono, Lagardère remembered with a laugh. Karl seemed to be quite pleased with himself. The room had dark wood paneling and doors, 18th century drawings in gold frames, and French windows looking out onto the garden. The long table was lit with massive gilded candlesticks, and covered with white orchids in oversized crystal bowls, filled with fresh green grapes, by Karl's favorite Paris florist, Lachaume. Guests were served by a half-dozen waiters, wearing their white double-breasted jackets, with white shirts and black ties. After his extreme loss of weight, Karl was